You ever have a day where your whole world just spins? Like, one minute you're coasting along. Next minute you're face to face with the ghost you thought you'd buried for good? That's exactly how it went for Ms. Rachel right the morning Stephen and Anthony Marshall walked back into Westbrook Academy, all grown up and sharp in their tailored suits. I mean, it's been 15 years, but the second she saw those faces, yeah, she knew. The Marshall twins. And here's the twist. These boys, the same ones she'd sent packing as kids, were now holding the keys to the very school she'd given her life to save. You can't make this stuff up. The place smelled like old paint and desperation. Westbrook used to be top shelf, ivy on the walls, bragging rights at every fundraiser. But now the ceiling tiles were stained, computers wheezed like they were on life support, and the halls echoed with fewer and fewer footsteps every year. Ms. Wright, the principal called, breaking her days. I'd like you to meet the Marshall brothers, the folks considering the donation that might keep us afloat. I mean, talk about full circle. Rachel had always preached every child deserves a champion. And yet here she was, living proof that sometimes your own blind spots can flatten the very kids you were supposed to lift up. Sometimes the person who changes your life is the one you least expect to give a second chance, Stephen said. And yeah, his voice didn't sound like the little boy she remembered. But his eyes, you could still see the kid who always had his hand up first. Now, the twins didn't come in swinging. They came in polite, businesslike, but you could feel the old pain simmering underneath. Rachel shook Stephen's hand, felt the years of regret settle in her stomach. Principal Madden, trying to keep up, glanced between them. Wait, you all know each other? Oh yes, Anthony answered, his voice smooth but edged. Ms. Wright played a significant role in our education. And just when Rachel thought she might collapse from the tension, in comes the school board chair, Gregory Holloway, the same guy who'd, all those years ago, basically convinced Rachel to throw the Marshall boys under the bus. She'd been a new teacher then, eager, insecure, easy to manipulate. As the four of them filed into the conference room, she could see the way the twins' eyes clocked every cracked trophy case and water stain. Stephen, always direct, broke the ice, a necessary skill, he said, when you're a kid trying to figure out why the adults you trust suddenly turn on you. The conversation was all business at first. Your school's got 3 months left, Anthony laid it out. Marshall Foundation could help, but only under certain conditions. Madden just about melted with relief. Anything, she said, we'll consider anything. But the room shifted when Holloway showed up. The twins wanted transparency, a full accounting of what really happened 15 years ago, not just the cleaned-up story on record, and a scholarship fund for kids like them. And the real kicker? They wanted Rachel herself to run it. Oh, and Holloway? They wanted his public resignation. Before the principal could even process that, the door creaked open again, and in walked Doris Marshall, the twins' grandmother. Regal, silver-haired, and holding the kind of authority that makes even grown men sit up straighter. Do you want to tell her what really happened, Ms. Wright? Or shall I? She said. And just like that, the whole room turned on its axis. See, back in the day, the official story was cheating, a test, a worksheet, the whole nine. But the truth? Holloway had framed the boys. Rachel had known it was wrong, but she'd been trapped. A photograph, she whispered now, a piece of her past as a protester, a mugshot that could have cost her everything because her father, the old board chair, had built his legacy on keeping the school pure. Gregory Holloway had found it and used it to make sure she fell in line. It should have ended there, but life never wraps up that neat. Turns out, this wasn't just about 2 black kids getting scapegoated for outshining the legacy students. Doug Foster, an old board treasurer, showed up out of nowhere with the receipts, literally. See, Westbrook had scored a fat federal grant that year, money meant for supporting scholarship kids from underprivileged backgrounds. But most of that money, it went straight to renovations, admin perks, bonuses for board members, Rachel's father included. The twins were collateral damage, their expulsion timed to keep the feds from looking too closely. So yeah, it wasn't just bigotry. It was about money, power, keeping up the illusion. And all these years, Rachel had blamed herself for being weak, when the rot had gone even deeper than she ever imagined. Holloway tried to dodge, but the Marshall twins had backup, handwriting analysis, original documents, everything they needed to expose the whole thing. It was all coming out now, in front of everyone. Mrs. Marshall looked at Rachel. All these years, I thought you were just another racist teacher. I never knew it was so tangled up. Rachel shook her head. It doesn't excuse what I did. I failed those boys. But the twins weren't there to destroy her. They wanted her help to rebuild, to make something right out of what had been broken. And then, right as everyone thought it couldn't get any more dramatic, in walked Matt Whitfield, the current board chair, flanked by lawyers, oozing old money confidence. The room practically sizzled. The twins laid it out. Either the school could accept their conditions and let the Marshall Foundation take over, or the whole story, would hit the press by sunset. Whitfield balked, but when he saw the evidence, he realized he was out of moves. What followed was electric. Negotiations on the spot, board members scrambling, Rachel making her stand for the first time in her life. The name Wright used to mean something at Westbrook, but she finally admitted the truth out loud. Her father had been wrong, she'd been wrong, and now was the moment to do better. Mrs. Marshall, dignified as ever, made sure everyone remembered why any of this mattered. This isn't about revenge, she said. It's about justice. In the end, the board caved. Westbrook Academy, as it had existed, was finished. In its place, Taylor Academy would rise, named for the one teacher who'd believed in the Marshall boys when everyone else had written them off. The new school would be half scholarship, half legacy, no more secrets, no more shutting out kids just because their families didn't show up on the donor list. The press conference out front was something else. Flashes, questions, the crowd hushed as the Marshall twins laid out their vision. Redemption, not revenge. Rachel stood beside them, owning her failure and, finally, starting to make it right. When the reporters pressed about the old scandal, the twins kept it classy, focused on the future, not the dirt. Afterwards, as the sun went down and the first real hope in years drifted through those battered halls, Rachel asked the boys, "How did you turn all that injustice into something positive?" Stephen smiled. "Anger's like fire, Ms. Wright. You can let it burn you up, or you can use it to light the way." And Anthony added, "Dignity's not something they can take from you. It's what you choose, even when everything else is falling apart." As dusk settled, the building felt different. The walls still needed paint, but the spirit had shifted. The people who mattered were gathered around a table, planning something new. Mrs. Marshall watched her grandsons, men, now, not the scared boys she'd once had to comfort, and whispered, "Full circle. That's what this is. Not an end, but a beginning. So now I'm asking you, what would you have done? When does justice end and revenge begin? Can you ever really fix a legacy, or just build something better from the ashes? Drop a comment, let's talk about it. Because stories like this, they don't end when the credits roll. They live on in what we do next.